Greetings, everyone. I would like to introduce to Art Arthur Sertelli. He has been practicing law since 1993, and we are very excited to have him on the Zoom call to talk to us about the life after F1 visa. I know F1 visa, after F1 visa, there is a lot of things that we can do in this country, and he's going to help us in understanding about it. Art, I request you, please introduce yourself a little more. Better than
Oh,
me, and
sure.
you can begin your presentation. I'm going to give you access about for that.
Okay. Let me find the screen. Here it is. So good afternoon or good morning, everybody. My name is Art Seratelli. I am an immigration lawyer, and we practice in a really narrow area. It's me, my law partner. We've got two case managers who used to be DSOs at universities and colleges locally. And what we do, we help students transition from F1 OPT to a work visa or a green card or a work visa, then a green card. And we do this because after you leave school, you're on your own. The International Student Advising Center at your school takes care of all your questions while you're there. And they're the experts in F1 student issues. But when you leave and you're trying to go from F1 OPT to a work visa, you're either at the mercy of an employer, or if the employer knows nothing about immigration, they'll have you try to find an immigration lawyer. Now you're at the mercy of the immigration lawyer you happen to find, like in the phone book or on in the internet. You look at reviews. So what we do is we offer free advice to anyone. We don't care if you're trying to get to America or stay in America, or if you're trying to stay, especially after your family paid tuition to send you to be educated here. If you want to stay and you've been educated here and I don't help you for free, what's there's shame on me. So my job is to make sure everybody with questions about immigration strategy that I can answer off the top of my head, I just provide answers. My law partner, we do it through email. I do it on Google Meet video calls or phone calls. We offer free strategic immigration advice so you have the information to make the next right, intelligent decision customized to your life. And then, and only then, in the future, if you ever need our services, if you want to hire us, great. If you work with us for a while and we're answering your questions and it turns out you think we're we're screwballs, then don't hire us. That's okay. But I feel like I have an obligation to all the parents all over the world who send their children to America to be educated. If I can help you and I don't, then I'm pretending like I'm not. I'm pretending like I'm not interconnected with humanity, with mankind. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. I am a little crazy, but that's true. I feel an obligation because the American dream is getting too hard with a crazy immigration system to grab a hold of that dream. It was easy for my ancestors, but it's a little harder for you. So we'll navigate the process together. One question, Jasmine, what time does this go to, the presentation? We got till 1 or the noon or 12:30?
It's still 12:30.
12:30. Okay.
Got
Great. So let's start. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to share the whole desktop and call up my slides. And nope, that's me. It's my marketing picture. There we are. All right. So we're talking about, let me move this to over here. We're talking about the career planning, because education is great in America, but you need to work, particularly if you have student loans denominated in American dollars. you better earn American dollars at work to pay back the loan. So you need to know how to figure out which visas for work visas are applicable to you. And that's based on a few variables. And then once you figure out which visas apply to you, meaning which ones you could get, then you send out networking, career interview, your resume. You go to a professional function in Dallas. If you're an architect, you go to an architects association or something, and you network with people who could potentially tell you about job offers, give you career advice, and you send out resumes. And if you're sending out enough resumes and putting out enough of yourself in different organizations in the business community or in the scientific community, then you will have a greater opportunity to find job offers that could afford you one of the visas that you qualify for. And why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because the H-1B, which everyone talks about, all the lawyers, all the headlines, H-1B, high-tech worker, blah, blah, blah. There's not enough of them. There's not enough of them. There's only 85,000 of these H-1B work visas for every single year. And they, as a result, when 500,000 people apply, 500,000, as a result, trying to get 85,000 visas available, distributed among 500,000 people. The only way to do that in the government's mind, I know how I would do it, and it's not this way. The government's way is with a lottery, a random lottery. And if you are only using the H-1B as your plan to work after OPT, and you got to win a lottery first, a lottery is like Las Vegas. It's Vegas, it's chance, luck. And you don't want your future tied to a roll of the dice. You don't want that. So that's what we're here to tell you. There's other choices. In fact, there are 12 popular visa choices. 12. And the H-1B with the lottery is the only one with a lottery. It's the only one with a limited number of visas. And it's not the best one because it's governed by a lottery. So we will go through this. We want you to know what other choices you've got, because in my opinion, the H-1B with the lottery is pretty awful. But one more thing, but if you find an employer who's willing to put you in line for this H-1B lottery, do it. Do it. Someone has to win. Someone has to win. I don't want you to think that the lottery is bad. It is bad, but someone has to win. What's bad is just relying on the lottery. You got to have more options than just this one visa choice. Okay. All right, let's do it. So here we are. These are the crazy people who will answer your questions because we love students. Students are smart. Students have followed the immigration rules. When you contact us, it is our pleasure to answer your questions because you are coming as a clean slate, and you're just trying to get information to sort through your choices. And as you leave and get farther away from your university, it's harder to find reliable information anywhere, particularly on the internet. So it's our obligation and our pleasure to help you. So you could send us email. That's the best bet. 4 people, me, my law partner, and 2 other case managers, they all have access to this address. But I and Mara, we have also the official URL email address for our law firm. I'm Art at the URL, and for her email is Mara at the URL. We have a cell phone you could text. And all these links are live, by the way. So if you click on the link, like there, that's our website. And, just click on all these links. You never know what you're going to find behind a link. So all the links are live, and please feel free to use them. All right, enough. Let's keep going. So that's how you get to us. And our law firm, even though there's 6 people total and 4 legal practitioners, size doesn't matter. We're among the best law firms according to U.S. News and World Report, and Mara and I are among the best lawyers. So we might be eccentric, but we're smart. This is just my resume, so you know I have a business background, not a typical like English or history. I've been through the ringer, but it's a logical career progression if you look to where I ended up. If you look um, from each step to the next step, it looks pretty crazy. Like, what is this guy doing? There's a real difference between accounting and getting an MBA. What is this guy? Is he crazy? So the least qualified person to tell you what your career should be about is you. This is me making all decisions on my own. And it took me 1, and then a do-over 2, and then a real do-over 3 to finally get it right. And so even things that seem earth-shattering and the decisions seem really, really like milestone, important decisions, sometimes they could be wrong, as you could see here and here. And so what I did is I did the next thing to change my career path. I did the next right thing to change my career path that would give me more choices in the future, not less. I didn't want to corner myself. So this is lawyers pretty wide open. You can do whatever you want. And these are the clients we represent. They're all your age, except for this lady. She's a surgeon, a facial surgeon from Russia. She's my age. But everyone else, look at this. This girl's going to be a dentist. This girl is going to be a dentist. Who's going to be my dentist when I'm an old guy, older than I am? This young lady right here. So I love this job. You have no idea how much I love doing this. I love it. And here's where you find us on social media. That's our logo across all the media platforms. And you can just click on all the links and you'll find us. So take a look. I don't want to put the X. That just, I think it's so crazy. X. I still use the little bird. X for Twitter. What? No. It reminds me of ecstasy. No. Um, I just said ecstasy on the tape. Sorry. This is the overall summary theme of the whole presentation. You got to navigate these boxes. You have to navigate these boxes. And if you want to get from student to a green card, permanent residency, this is what you'd have to do if you did it based on your employment and your education. This is how you would do it if you got married, preferably to an American if you're in love. Don't be getting married if you're not in love, because that's fraud and you go to jail for that, and then they deport you. So let's go back to the employment line for just a moment. You go to school, you get F1, you're studying in the books, you have an I-20, you study your subjects in the books, and maybe you work, not maybe, you should get CPT, curriculum practical training, to get off campus and into a company or a job that's related to your major, and that if you do a good job, they might love you so much they'll offer you employment after you graduate. And speaking of graduation, there it is right there. And then what's the employment mechanism? What do you use? What do you use to work when you graduate? You're still an F1, even though you've graduated, but now you work on optional practical optional practical training. You can stay in America and work, and the school helps you get the work permission. So if anybody asks you, will we need to sponsor you? When? What are they talking about? Do they even know what they're talking about? When? When? In 3 years from now? In 1 year from now? Because right now I have CPT, I'm going to graduate, and then next I'm going to have OPT, and you, the employer, don't have to lift a finger. Nothing. You just let me walk in the front door with my work card for OPT, and I work. Then when this runs out, and that's what they're really asking when they say, do I need to sponsor you? They're not asking about here. They're asking about over here. These are temporary. They last for various times. It varies by the type. The H-1B lasts for 6 years, and then it's over. A religious worker visa, 5 years. An L1 intra-company transferee if you work outside of America for Walmart, and then they ship you back to Arkansas headquarters. That's an L1A if you're a project manager, L1A. They last for 7 years. So these are temporary. That's why your goal is to become a green card holder, which is permanent. You get permanent residency. So one note, if you're a STEM major and your employer on OPT uses something called E-Verify, then your STEM major, and if you're not sure, don't assume your major is STEM. If you're taking computers in the business school, that might be a business major, which is not STEM. But if it's heavily focused on computers, even if it's in the business school, it could be STEM. So you got to ask your advisors in the International Student Office, what is the code for your major? And does the US government recognize the major code you have as STEM? All right. And then if you're in a STEM major and your employer uses something called E-Verify, you could stay in this box for 3 years. Three. And it's taken about 3 years, 2.5 years to get to a point in the green card process where you can work based on the green card. So it would be nice if you had CPT back here. You work off campus with CPT. They fall in love with you at the office where you're working off campus for 20 hours a week, CPT. You graduate. Who's gonna help you out here? Who's gonna help you out? If you did a good job, the people you worked for back here. Now you come in the door. They already know you. They know you already. So if that's the case, you might be in a position to ask, hey, company, would you put me in line for a green card at the beginning of OPT? And when 3 years go by, we'll still have this option for a work visa, but we may not even need that because 3 years is enough time to get a green card. And that's true. 3 years is enough time to get a green card or work permission from a green card. That's true if you're not born in India or China. India and China take longer because there are more people from those countries, and our system of counting who is allowed to get a green card in any given year is limited by number by country. And the numbers for India and China are too low, and the number for Iceland or Finland is too high. And when the government starts allocating resources centrally, no good. It's all screwed up. Just like the Soviet Union. There is no Soviet Union because central planning doesn't work. So anyway, we could talk more about that, how to manipulate OPT for 3 years to get you in line here. Now, big companies probably won't put up with this idea. Big companies do their own thing at their own pace. Smaller, mid-sized companies, particularly family-owned, where you're working just as hard as Uncle Jonathan over there, the owner's brother, you're working just as hard, and the owner knows you're smarter than his brother. They love you. Now, a smaller, mid-sized firm will consider this. All the cases I've done for this kind of an arrangement are not big corporations, multinationals. They're smaller little companies, 500 people, 1,000 people, companies in the tens of thousands of employees, they're usually set in their ways. All right, that's work. And we're going to focus on this box for the rest of the presentation. The other way is you just get married. You get married anywhere. You get married here, you get married here, you get married here, and then boom, 1 year later, get married. 1 year later, green card. If you marry an American, you get married anywhere on this timeline. 1 year later, boom, green card. That's it. That's it. And remember, I said the poor people from India and China are being penalized because we're using an old-fashioned, out-of-date law to count and limit the number of green cards every year per country. Well, if you marry an American, there is no limit, and everybody gets a green card in a year through marriage. So even though you wind up stuck married to an American, I mean, look at me. I'm American. You marry me when I was 40 years younger. 40 years younger, I look different than this. This is what you get after being married to an American. This. So if it's making you gag a little or feel a little nauseated, then don't do it. I'm sure my wife looks at me every day and feels a little queasy, like, who I married that guy? I married him. So anyway, this is good. Now you could marry someone with a green card. They don't have to be American. They could be a green card holder. And if you marry a green card holder, that green card spouse can get you a green card. But there is a wait. It takes about maybe 2-3 years. So green card spouses have second preference, and American spouses roll out the red carpet, white glove, concierge treatment. Okay. If you do try to go through employment, which most people will, and get the green card, what kinds of green cards do you get through employment? Now, here's a chart. We could talk about this later if you want, or email me and ask questions, and I'll answer your individual questions anytime. I'm not kidding. And you're not going to get a bill. You're not. So the green card grid, each box is a type of green card for a different category. The first column is you're so smart and special. You are so smart and special. You got a master's degree or a PhD. It's usually a PhD. You could either sponsor yourself in the first preference, or you could sponsor yourself in the second preference. You don't need an employer, and your green card is not tied to a job at a company. The green card is tied to your brains and your accomplishments. So because of that, these are always something people ask about first, because it gives you relatively more control over your future if you can qualify for one of these boxes. The chart is also divided by rows. The rows are preference. So if you're in the first row, you should get a green card sooner than people in the second row. And the people in the second row should get a green card sooner than the people in the third row. So that's what this chart is all about. The first column, again, you sponsor yourself. The second column is your employer sponsors you, but you're in the magic golden quad. You're in the magic golden quad section of the chart. These 4 boxes are for people with masters and PhDs, usually, again, PhDs. And this is if you're a researcher or a professor on a campus or a researcher in a private company. And this is if you are a tenure track professor with a PhD. So this is for employers sponsoring you, but academic and research. And this last column is where all the rest of the normal people go. I would be here, even though I'm eccentric. I would be in this box right here because I have a law degree and I'm just a regular guy. Computer systems analysts are in this box if they have a master's, this box if they have a bachelor's. Quality control engineers, they would be in this box if they have a master's. They'd be in this box if they have a bachelor's. So that's how this works. Up here, these are just regular, everyday people who have worked outside of America for a company, a multinational, and think multinational. If you work for a multinational and you leave America after OPT and you're working for a multinational outside of America, then you can come back as an L. So I mentioned Walmart earlier. Walmart. You work for Walmart in logistics, a STEM major, and you work for Walmart for 3 years on OPT, and you lose the lottery for the damn H-1B every single year for 3 years. If Walmart loves you, do you think they're just going to let a good worker leave because of a dumb lottery? Walmart is a worldwide multinational. Its headquarters are in Arkansas, but don't hold that against it, because Walmart can ship you, if they love you, they can ship you after you lose the lottery to Walmart Singapore, Walmart China. And the poor people from India, remember I mentioned people from India, born in India? If you're born in India and you're in this box right here, you got to wait 10 years for a green card. The best day of your life is if you lose the lottery, because then you got to get plan B going. And plan B should be a multinational where after OPT, you're working for a multinational. They send you out of America for a year or more, but at least a year. And then they bring you back as a multinational transferee manager, a project manager. And then if you're born in India, the wait time up here is 5 years. That's all right. It's not great, but it's better than 10, right? So we will manipulate these categories too to your benefit. All right. Um, Now, Joe Biden, I put a star here. Joe Biden says, why are we making these categories vague? Vague, meaning we tell you what we need for you to get into the box, but we don't tell you specifically if it's good enough. You have to figure it out on your own. So he said, I'm taking the mystery out of this box. I'm going to list technologies that are critical and emerging. And if you're studying and working in one of these areas, you've proven half of the national interest waiver case already. But again, the Joe Biden list is really the best. If you have a PhD, if you have a master's, it's 50-50. But PhDs that study and work on this list, it's good. What do I mean by good? Well, let's take a look. Here's the list. And Joe Biden trying his best. He's an old grandpa. He's a good guy. Here it is. So here's his list of critical and emerging technologies. So Joe Biden says, hey, you study this stuff, you work with this stuff. If you do that, you automatically have proven half of what you need to prove to win a national interest waiver self-sponsored green card. You've already proven half of what you need to prove. And why? Because I said so. I'm the president. That's why. I'm a president like all the other normal presidents, except for Trump, who want to help smart international people stay here. I want to help you. So there, no mystery. There it is. Boom. And then, for example, if even these words are a little too vague, what is advanced computing? I don't know. So you look here. Advanced computing is supercomputing, edge computing, cloud computing, data storage. Da, 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 da. So take a look at this list. And if you have questions, please email me. In fact, you know what? Why don't you take a screenshot? Take a screenshot of that. That's how you get us. So if you have any questions after this presentation, I'm going to send these slides to your international student office, and they could post the slides with the video that's being recorded. But I could send them to you also. Particularly if you find a broken link or something, send it to me. Say, hey, Art, this link is broken, and I'll fix it, send it back to you, and then I'll use the updated version in the future. Okay, enough of that. Joe Biden. Oh, this is what goes on in the purple boxes. It's a nightmare. But if you're smart, like my law partner Mara, she knows how to manipulate this system too. And when I say manipulate, I don't mean break rules. I mean manipulate it to use the rules and follow the rules to help you. When we help somebody, we help the human being. We have to work with the employer, but I'm not necessarily in love with this employer. I don't want their money. I don't want to be their lawyer. I want to be the lawyer for the human being, because these big companies sometimes, they don't care about you. And I got to work with them, and we're doing something good to help you and make your future better. And they tell me they don't want to work with you anymore. And they tell me that I have to tell you there's no more work. Get lost. Your immigration case is gone. Go away. No. And they view it as a zero-sum game. If they don't want you, they don't want to help you anymore. And there's nice things they could do if you don't work there anymore to maximize the benefit you get out of this immigration process, no matter where you are. But some companies just don't care. And the lawyers who deliver the bad news messages on behalf of a company to you, well, there might be a special place in hell for them. I don't know, but I'm not. I'm going there for other reasons, but not because I'm siding or favoring an employer. That's for sure. I got no patience for big organizations. None. All right. If you want to get married, I have a whole playlist about getting married. The real message here, though, is if it's real and you're in love, you win. If it's fake, even though you got the rings, if it's fake, the government, they can figure this out. They figure stuff out. They'll deport you. So if you're in love, take a look at these videos or email me. All right. Now here's the next part. See this chart? We're focusing now on what are these work visas that precede the green card if you need to be in this box. If you can't get the green card box through there, then you got to go through here. There's 12 of them. What are they? That's what we're talking about next. Let's see. All right. So you got to figure out of these 12 work visa categories, which ones are suited for you. And that is a distinction that we should just clarify a little bit. Suited for you, these work visas are suited for you based on what? Work visas are determined by your passport, where you are a citizen. The wait time in line for the green card, that's determined by where you're born. All right. So if you're waiting for a green card and you have an Indian passport, the Indian passport restricts you to what you can apply for here, because these are based on citizenship. But if you, with that Indian passport, were born in the United Arab Emirates, because your mom was working there or something, you're born there, you were not born in India. So your wait time for the green card would be just like somebody born in Italy, Switzerland. Where you're born determines the time you wait in line for a green card. Your passport determines which work visas you get. Now, why is there this gray box? Because the top 5 work visas are the most popular, and they're available to everybody with any citizenship anywhere on Earth. And the bottom 4, which are a little weird, but they're also available to anyone from any country of citizenship anywhere on Earth. These 3 in the gray box, these 3 vary by your citizenship. All right. So you figure out which of these you're interested in. Maybe you come up with a list of 3, maybe 4 of these visas you're interested in. You could go work at a place that could get you one of these 4 visas for you, or if you pick out 3, maybe you pick out 5. But whatever ones you pick out based on your major, your citizenship, where you want to work. Like, for example, R1 is religious worker. Do you want to work in a religious organization? If you do, great. That's good. The G visa is a NGO, like the World Bank, the International Committee of the Red Cross, the World Health Organization, the United Nations. You work in a place like that, they get you the G visa. So where's your citizenship? Boom, it might get you one of these three extra. What are you interested in? Where do you want to work? What are you studying? And then once you know what visa categories you fit in, you'll know what kinds of places to network and send your resume. Network means meeting people. Resume sending, you just send it to a computer on the website. That's not the best way to do it. You got to work people. You got to work the crowd. You got to find humans that want to help you as another human. Um, but anyway, for example, if you study logistics, you could work and try to get an H-1B by winning the lottery for Walmart. But if Walmart doesn't win the lottery with you and they love you, they'll send you to Walmart Singapore and bring you back as an L1A, because that's the intra-company multinational worker that transfers to America. L1B is for technical work, nuts and bolts technical work, and the L1A is special. That's for managers, like project managers. And if you come back from Walmart, Singapore, with an L1A, like I said earlier, now you fit into two boxes. You fit in either this one with a master's or a bachelor's, or you could, if you have a master's, you could possibly fit in this one too. It doesn't matter, but you get more choices. And that's what I mean by manipulate the system. Pick a job connected to a visa that gives you a chance of avoiding that lousy H-1B lottery, or gives you a plan B if you lose it, and gives you choices in this grid for the green card later on. And you're not going to remember all this, please. I only know this stuff because I've been doing it for 20 years. But honestly, you're not going to remember it all. But just remember what I'm saying in general. You can manipulate the system and work backwards. You pick these first, then you look for jobs that get you into one of these categories. And you got to have more than one, because the one everybody fits in by default is this lousy H-1B with the lottery. You can't rely on that. All right, so you work backwards from your visa choices. I have a spreadsheet. It shows you either in words or graphically by country. And these are not every country on earth. This is a list of the people and the countries that I've worked with in 20 years. So every student that I worked with from Bermuda, they are represented by that link right there, or by these choices right here. So you see the three gray citizenship vary visas. Bermuda doesn't have any of those. So let's look at Bermuda. You'll see the picture, and it'll confirm what the Bermuda picture looks like. The Bermuda picture, the gray box is empty, but that's all right. That's normal. What's not normal is look at Canada. If you see anybody from Canada, don't hate them because they have more choices than everybody else. I mean, you can, just don't tell them. It hurts their feelings. It's not their fault. It's the immigration system's fault. But look at the Canadians. Like, right? If you can't get a job and a work visa from Canada in America, there's something wrong with you. Look at this. Look at this. They have 11 of the 12. Hello? Hello? And Mexico also has these 11. Mexico, Canada, the North American Free Trade Agreement. That's what the picture looks like for Canada. So take a look at that. That's important. It makes you realize where you should focus. And then you get the list of choices, and then you narrow that down based on your major, where you want to work. All right. This is a bunch of resources for you. Again, you contact us, and if the answer to your worries, the answer to your concern has nothing to do with me being your immigration lawyer, I'm still going to give you the answer. I don't just hand out answers that help me eventually get you as a client. This is about you. I'm not normal. I'm the anti-lawyer. This is about you. You're not going to get a bill and I'm going to give you answers, even if you need a Canadian immigration lawyer, even if what really you're asking about is how to present yourself in an interview and brand yourself. My brand, the anti-lawyer. Dun, dun, I'm the anti-lawyer. That's me. I'm smart. I know what I'm doing, but I'm not impressed with myself because I'm a lawyer. And the last thing I want to do is kiss somebody's rear end in a corporation with the hierarchy, the career ladder. There's your ladder right there. No, thank you. That's me. So what's you? Well, if you want to learn how to network, interview for US jobs, and brand yourself, there's a private career coach that I know. She's nice. She's from Thailand. She's had the same exact experience you have right now, except she had it 25 years ago. So she's very creative, very pleasant, very nice. Or you could do the same kind of work if you go to the Career Center on campus, and that's free. Private career coaches, they charge you. If you want immigration information about the categories of green card, the categories of work visa, and the complexities or difficulties for each one, these websites will help you. These are two government websites. One is for the temporary work visa, one is for the green card, and this one is written by Indian students, but it's applicable to all students. It's a good website. I trust it. Uh, these websites tell you who has ever sponsored an H-1B since 2001. So you click on that and you go to database and you go to H-1B visa sponsors. So let's, I don't know, let's go to UT Southwestern, UT Southwestern. Now, does UT Southwestern sponsor business people, only doctors, doctors and nurses? Do they sponsor finance guys, marketing people? Do they sponsor engineers? I don't know. Let's look. So you go there and you search, and UT Southwestern, they hire medical scientists, they hire teachers, they hire teachers, they hire teachers, they hire researchers, they hire researchers, they hire researchers, and they hire researchers and researchers. And it looks like there's three more pages, but that's a pattern that tells me if you're not a researcher or a teacher, I'll bet you they hire doctors too. If you're not in the clinical side, the teaching side, if you're just some guy on staff in the finance office, good luck. That's what I'm getting off that. But you play around with that. These are really good websites, and they're created from publicly available data, so they're reliable. And they're both honestly connected to the same database. They're just different interfaces here. So this is the interface for this place. It's a heck of a lot easier. To not all those boxes. They went overboard on the other one. They just type in, let's not do UT Southwestern. Let's do I don't know, Infosys. How about that? Infosys. That's in Dallas. Let's see what we got. Infosys Limited. Oh, that's the company. Yeah, they sponsor a lot. It's been going down because the lottery's been getting more burdensome, but you can see that they sponsor H-1Bs. And last year they sponsored 1,000. The year before that, 77,000. The year before that, 7,700. I'm sorry, 7,700. 7,600. So look at this year, 2019. They did 21,000. Anyway, and then they should show you somewhere what the job titles are. But in any event, oh, here they are, job titles. Oh, but this is job titles, and it'll give you the companies. Let's do that. Quality control engineer. Let's see what we got. Quality control engineer. And is this still for Infosys? We'd have to figure this out. I'm doing this kind of quickly. Yeah, this is meaningless without a company attached to it. We'll figure it out. If you have questions, email me about this. All right, enough. I even have a video. We have a YouTube channel. I have a video where I will tell you about how to answer questions about immigration.
Welcome to our on-campus presentation. The first thing
how to answer questions about immigration during the interview process. There's going to be questions about your immigration status on an application, and there's going to be questions about your immigration status in an interview. And if you are afraid to answer the wrong way, or if you're being really conservative and they say, well, do I need to sponsor you? You feel like screaming, well, you're the American. Don't ask me. I'm from India. What are you asking me for? You tell me. You're hiring me. I'm not the lawyer. I'm a worker. So you can't say that. You'll never get the job. But you could answer exactly what they ask. This is like a Bill Clinton lawyer thing. You answer exactly what they ask. Do I need to sponsor you sometime in the future for a work visa? Well, the answer to that is yes. But do you need sponsorship to hire you? Do I need to get you sponsorship right now to hire you? No. I have OPT. The school helps me. I just walk in on day one and work. That's the answer. Do I need to sponsor you? No. I have OPT. Now, a year from now or 3 years from now, you might, but not right now. You're being very vague. Your questions are vague. So I will encourage you to push the limits of truth, but don't lie, and tell you what the risks are if you do that. And I'd rather you take a risk, to be honest. Or you can avoid it, all this whole video you can avoid if you're working human beings at conventions and association meetings. If you want to be an engineer, go to the local engineering association meeting and you talk to people, and in conversation you ask them how do you become them when you're older. They'll give you advice, career advice. You don't ask for a job, you ask for advice. That's networking. Informational interviews. And if they like you in the course of a conversation, then they'll believe me, they'll take a liking to you and they'll try to help you look for jobs. It's understood. You don't have to ask for a job, you ask for advice. Okay. You can get the idea that these videos are no different than what you're seeing right now. All right, enough of that. Oh, this is the networking thing. Remember, a human being gives another human being a job, not a computer. Don't be sending all your resumes to computers and thinking after sending out 100, you're done. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get 2 responses out of 100, maybe. And then if you really get fed up, like I was saying earlier, if you're with a multinational, Walmart can send you to Singapore after OPT. Well, the other thing you could do, if you're working on OPT for a company that permits remote work, remote work is a good thing if you want to work, say, from Canada. Because if you have a job in America and they like you, and some people in the company work remotely, and you could work remotely, but then you run out of OPT and you can't work in America at all because you got no way to do it. You lose the H-1B lottery. If you lose the lottery, what do? This place would let you, and I'll show you the link, this place will let you work remotely from Canada. You literally move to Canada. So if you're a student born in India, you move to Canada. They help you with resources to find apartments. They keep you in a social community of remote workers from Canada that they create. You're in their community. You make friends. They encourage you to either stay in Canada and make a life there, or if you're working remotely in America, but you're living in Canada for 4 years, I think it's 4, I think, that we'll double check, you become a Canadian citizen. Now you're an Indian born person with Canadian citizenship and you've been working for an American company, you can come back on all those Canadian visa choices. You have more choices because the visa choices are based on citizenship. And this company's whole thing is to work with the Canadian government to get you the work visa to then relocate and live and work in America. You work in America, but remotely while you're living and sitting in Canada. And they have an office building. And these people are brilliant. These people are brilliant. I hand it to them. And if my aunt, by the way, I spoke with this woman on the phone. She's 40. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? She looks 28. She looks 28. So this company thinks young. They look young. They are nice people, and they are really creative. Here's what happens: you go to Canada and you get the visa because Mob Squad, that's the name of the company, they work with the Canadian government. They get you the Canadian work visa to work remotely in Canada. Now you're in Canada. In fact, there you are. There you are in Canada. Where's your boss? It's your OPT employer. There's the boss. He's in America. And you work through remote systems and you come as a business visitor once in a while to the office in America. And if you can negotiate this with your employer, Mob Squad does all the work. So this is a good option. Don't ever say never. Never, never, never. I would never work in Canada. Well, maybe you would. You don't know until you got to make a decision. So never say never. Enough of that. Oh, and by the way, who pays you? Mob Squad pays you, and you work as a consultant for your American employer. And then where does Mob Squad get the money to pay you? The American employer pays Mob Squad. Mob Squad pays you. The American employer pays Mob Squad. Mob Squad pays you, and your assignment is to keep this company happy in America by doing whatever they tell you. All right? Enough. All right, so here's the details on these damn visas. Pardon my language. This is the one that causes trouble, the H-1B. What is an H-1B? Oh, by the way, all these are numbered now, 1 through 12, because the numbers correlate to the detailed information slides below. So here's number 1, the H-1B with the lottery. And it goes on because you want to pull your hair out. But somebody has to win. Somebody's got to win. Try it. Play the lottery. I don't like it, as you could see. I could have picked any other picture. I picked that one. What happens if you lose the lottery? I'll get to this. But then here's number 2, the H-1B with no lottery. There's a certain type of employer, 3 of them. There they are. 1, 2, 3. These 3 don't have a lottery. So maybe you would consider working there, because if you're qualified to get one of these H-1Bs, to make it non-lottery, you got to work in one of these places. And maybe you never thought about that before, but maybe it wouldn't be so bad depending upon the job. Even though you thought you'd work somewhere else in your mind, if you want to stay, you could work for one of these types of employers. And I'll explain all this. So this is what I mean by picking the visa based on your citizenship, your major, where you want to work, and so on. All right. So let's go back. Lottery. What's an H-1B with a lottery? H-1B, they call it a specialty occupation, but it's not that special. All you need is a 4-year college degree minimum. 4-year college degree. The job has to require a 4-year college degree, and the employer has to be stable financially, so they're not going to go out of business the day you walk through the front door with your H-1B. That's it. It ain't special at all. A gym teacher in high school could be an H-1B. You need a college degree in education or in physical fitness or something, and the job at the school district requires that you have that degree, and you have it. That's it. It's not that special. Why are there problems with this? Because number one, people fight about what special means, specialty occupation. What does it mean? It means what I just said. And in the past, normal presidents would give you the benefit of the doubt and be more likely to approve your H, whether there was a difference of opinion, whether it was really that special or not. Because the definition, it's not that special. Trump came in and he overly defined and restricted the meaning of specialty occupation to be like brain surgeon or here's one. This was pretty awful. If you were a computer systems analyst, but you studied electrical engineering and you could get the job computer systems analyst with an electrical engineering background, electrical engineering, or a software engineering background, Trump would say, this job is not that special because you could either be an electrical engineer or a software engineer to do it. It ain't special. Too bad for you. Go home. That's what I had to deal with for 4 years. My head was going to explode. This is why I have gray hair. Anyway, so problem number one, headache number one. People fight, people being presidents and right wingers, not progressives. They're worried about who's so special and who isn't. One. Two, you got to register for the lottery. And it's just changed in 2024. Here's an analysis of the changes. You click there. You could read about this. Basically, it helps the student. This change is a good change. It helps the student and it cuts down on fraud. And I really think it's going to be a growing pain problem to get used to it. But read this. I posted this on social media too. So read that. And then to enter the lottery, they changed that system. Here's the word. Imagine showing this to an employer. You got to figure out the best way to present this. You show this to an employer. This is all we have to do, employer, to put me in the lottery. They're going to freak out and jump out the window. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? When really all you need to do is know that the new lottery registration requires a USCIS employer organizational account. Your employer has to set up an account. How do you do that? Good luck trying to find it in all these words. Words. Look at where you got to go. You have to go step-by-step instructions. You drop the video, click down, and there are 2 videos. One is for how lawyers use this system, and the second one is how the company uses this system. And there's literally a video with screens and descriptions and see, yeah, they're clicking buttons, see how they're doing it. So they show you what to do. But good luck. Good luck. Where is that? Where did you find that? You found it in the drop-down menu in that web page. You got to take what they give you. And then when should you graduate to maximize the number of H-1B lotteries you can play in? Well, you can graduate in May or December. And I have 2 videos, one on each. And here's the videos. There's a playlist. So again, click on these links because you never know what you're going to find. There they are. They all look the same. I say different words. They all look the same. All right, enough. So that's the H-1B with the lottery. It ain't that special. And it's awful because 85,000 visas are given away by the lottery and close to 500,000 people apply. No good. It's all luck. It's terrible, but someone's got to win. All right. The next kind of H-1B is cap exempt, meaning you don't have to go through the lottery because there's no 85,000 cap. There's no limit of 85,000. This is good. Now, who are these employers? What are the rules? Well, there are 3 employers who qualify for exemption from the lottery, no lottery. And then on top of those 3 employers, there's a couple of countries that are also exempt from the lottery, not by rule, but by practical application. And I'll get back to that in a minute. So who are these employers? The employers are, 1, any college or university in the United States. So if you wanted to go to like UT Southwestern, I looked there because I was seeing what types of people got hired. If a university will sponsor a worker, you got to see if it's staff or teacher. Most schools only sponsor tenure track professors and maybe some teachers like lecturers. Other schools sponsor anybody. So let me show you this. We'll go back to I'll do myvisajobs.com, myvisajobs.com, where we were before. I'll select the database, H-1B visa. All right, so I'm going to look at a school that I know sponsors everybody and their brother. LIBE, because I've done some of the work. Liberty University, search, and no results. Isn't that weird? Why? Very odd. Huh, and that's wrong. They just revamped this website. Let's do the University of Virginia. University of Virginia. No results. What am I doing wrong? We could play around with this for you if you have any specific questions, or you play around with it. But yeah, I'm in the right database. Job title. One more. Let me do Microsoft. Okay, something's definitely wrong. So I don't know what's going on. In other words, we're going to blow that off and keep going. So you need to find an institution of higher education, college or university, that hires for your major. If your major leads to a staff job, finance, marketing, computers, they may or may not sponsor you. You got to look in that database, but the database wasn't working. Number 2, nonprofit entities affiliated with U.S. colleges and universities. That is a teaching hospital. So if you can get a teaching hospital job and you're not the doctor, if they hire supervising nurses, if they hire computer IT people or facilities management, mechanical engineers, whatever. So look for teaching hospitals, public schools, kindergarten through high school, grade 12, K through 12. They are affiliated usually with a local university because they cooperate. The K through 12 will accept education majors from the university to practice teaching kids. The smart kids in high school who are good in math and science, they get to take college level classes at the university, and they get high school credit and college credit. So if there are agreements between a local K through 12 public school and a university, you're in. So one more time, because I'm stubborn, let me just do this one last time. I'm going to go to H-1B grader, the other one. H-1B grader, H-1B grader, H-1B grader. And let's type in Dallas Independent, here, right there. Okay. Oh, okay, now this is working. Dallas Independent School District. This will tell you how many H-1Bs they have, how many people are paid what amount of money, and the job titles. So they sponsor a lot. Look at this. Look at this. Dallas Public Schools. If you have a major and you want to deal with high school kids, or maybe not, who are they hiring? They're hiring database administrators. There you go. There's a job if you study computers. And then they're hiring teachers, speech therapists, teacher, and computer people. Bingo, ding, 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 ding. That's how you use these databases, okay? And apparently H-1B Grader is cooperating today and the other one wasn't. So what's a nonprofit entity affiliated with a college or university? Dallas Independent Public School System or District, Dallas Public School District. Why? Because look at all the H-1Bs they sponsored. They gotta be affiliated with some university or college. And then the last one is a nonprofit research organization. And these nonprofit research organizations are think tanks, public policy research groups, like the Brookings Institute. So I have links to all different kinds of places. The Harvard one, just as an example, all these places on this list are exempt from the lottery, even if they don't know it. That's a big joke. Like this Carnegie, where is it? Carnegie Mellon, ABC, Carnegie. There's the Brookings Institute. Here, this one. I just walked past this building this weekend in DC. The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. They have a branch that does education policy in California. The HR people at the Carnegie Foundation in California, where they do nothing but research education policy, HR did not know that they were exempt from the H-1B lottery. Once I explained it to the Carnegie Foundation, they hired the young lady. The same thing with the Michael J. Fox Parkinson's Disease Research Foundation. They didn't know they were exempt from the lottery. And once I told them, the young lady got a job. She's in line for a green card. It's not hard. You just have to be open-minded. If you can be open-minded, I can help you. And even if you want to go to Canada, I can help you. And I won't charge you if you go to Canada because I'm not doing anything. I'm just giving you the name of that one organization to point you in the right direction. If you don't want that organization, I'll give you the names of Canadian immigration lawyers. So anyway, that's the H-1B with no lottery, okay? And the rest of them, the G visa is a visa that you use, number 3, you use with specially designated non-governmental organizations. Here are the examples, but you click here. There's a 10-page list. You click here, and if you get a job at one of these places, they get you the visa. So if you get a job at the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Caribbean Organization, the Asian Development Bank, all these offices are in America. You need a work visa to go in American building to work for this office of that organization in America. There's all kinds of Inter-American Tropical Tuna Commission. I can guarantee you nobody at UT Commerce is looking for a job at the Inter-American Tropical Tuna Commission. Maybe you should. I don't know. So why did I show you that? Because if you get a job at one of these places, they get you the visa. There is no lawyer. They call up the State Department and they say, hey, State Department, I'm on your list of special organizations. We get G visas. Issue me one, please. That's how you get your visa. So think about it. L1 we already talked about. You got to work 1 year outside of America after losing the lottery with Walmart 3 times. You go to Walmart Asia, or this works with Louis Vuitton in France or whatever. You go work outside a year and you come back. If you're a manager, like a project manager, you're L1A. If you come back like a technical person, like a computer software engineer, you come back as L1B. If you want to do religious work, R1. An R1 simply means you need to find a job that requires your knowledge of your religion. Your religion. Now, what's your religion? It's wherever you've been sitting to worship God for the last 2 years. And it could be your home church or home mosque back in your home country. But it's not based on your education. It's based on your knowledge of your religion. Normally, the religious organization hires you because of what you studied in college, but the overriding theme of what you're doing is religious based. The E3, that is an H-1B for Australians. What? These are created by treaty, the E. So the treaty is between America and Australia, and it says, hey, if you're from Australia and you have a 4-year college degree, we will give you a visa that looks like an H-1B, acts like an H-1B, but it's got a different name. It's an E3. And there are 10,000 of these E3s, only for Australians. There never, ever is more demand than 10,000, ever. So there's always enough. That's why these are essentially exempt from the lottery. And Chile and Singapore, if you're from those countries, you're exempt from the lottery too, because these are carved out. They're carved out of the 85,000, which are subject to the lottery. But because they're carved out and arbitrarily have, I think Singapore has 3,000 available. And I think Chile's got 5,000 available. And in no year ever has have more Chileans or more Singaporeans got in line to exhaust the set-aside supply. There's always enough. So by default, in practice, these two are also exempt from the lottery. All right. So the E3, it's just an undercover H-1B with no lottery. TN, these are for, is anybody from Canada or Mexico? Because if you're from Canada or Mexico, the way this works is you got to be a citizen of Canada or a citizen of Mexico, and you get a job that's on the job titles list. Job titles list. Click. And this is the regulation that lists the job titles. So if you're a citizen of Canada or Mexico, and you get a job, and here's the chart. Here's the chart. If you get a job and you're called accountant, in America, you get a job, you're called architect or computer systems analyst. If you get these job titles and you have a passport from Mexico or Canada, you get a special visa called the TN, and you bypass the H. You don't need an H. So this is a good secret. I love the TN. The TN is my best friend. And I love schools in Texas, because schools in Texas have a lot of smart young people who come to school in America from Mexico. So if you are in that category, Mexico citizen at school in America, particularly Texas, let me know. We could try to use these categories of job title to help you avoid the H-1B. All right, enough of that. The e-visa treaty, there's a list of countries. There they are, the list of countries that have treaties with America to create the e-visa. There's an E1 and an E2. E2 and E1. E1 is an import-export company. E2 is any other kind of company. So how does this work? These companies are in America, but they're Argentinian owned, or Armenian owned, or Australian owned, or they are Bangladeshi owned. So if you find a company in America that has your nationality, the treaty says, hey, you got a passport that says Bangladesh, you find a company in America owned by people from Bangladesh or owned by a corporation in Bangladesh, and they have a US operation, they have a US office, and you get a job at that office, you can go work there just because you're alive and from Bangladesh with a passport that says Bangladesh. So for example, Bangladesh might not be that helpful. How many Bangladeshi companies in America are there? That's your research assignment. Try to figure that out. But if you're from France, there's tons. Moet Chandon, Champagne, the Louis Vuitton fashion, scarves, pocketbooks, shoes. There are tons of French companies in America. So if you're French, you wake up alive in French, find French companies. Same with Germany. Same with Ireland, Israel, Italy, the Ferragamo, the Massimo Zanetti coffee, Ferrari, Maserati, la 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 la. So take a look at this. If you're alive and you're Italian, you got a leg up, all right? Or any other, oh my God, Japanese, holy moly, Panasonic, Sony, Komatsu, Mitsubishi, Kawasaki, Honda, Toyota. Hello. So take a look at that. And then and these are the last four. You have to be extraordinary. You have to be among the best in your field. And here's where it's described. You just read about it right there. The other one is you have a P visa, you're an athlete or an entertainer. And here, those are described. Think musician, sports, and academics for these two. O1 means you personally are among the best. P1 means you are performing with a group to entertain or for athletics, and the group is very impressive, and you're good enough to get on the group squad. So this is really about the group with which you perform, and this is about you, how you personally perform. Are you the best in your field? So this is hard if you're young. And then the last two is any United States location of a foreign country embassy or consulate. So, for example, if you walk in Houston down a certain street from where I spoke at the University of St. Thomas to where you go eat lunch, you pass the consulate of, I think it's Mexico and China. I think there's two consulates just sitting there. If you are from Ireland and you got a job at the Chinese consulate in Houston, you can get an A visa if your job is high enough in the stratagem, the hierarchy. If your job is high enough in the hierarchy to be considered a diplomatic corps job, then you get an A visa. I had a girl from New Jersey. She was from Spain. She got a job at the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. And the Chinese embassy, the employer, asked the American State Department to put an American work visa in a Spanish woman's passport so she could work for the Chinese government in America. Right? And then this is for journalism, media, broadcasting, and written journalists. So take a look at that. And that's it. I went overtime a little. Do you guys have any questions? Just to give you an idea of how I answer questions, if you want to do that or no. Yes, assume on. So who is still left from the international office? Do you guys want to help me moderate, or what should we do? You can unmute young the student Suman.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Arthur. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, actually, I have a question like, as an international student, and can we apply for H1B during our last semester?
You applied for H-1B during the last semester. What do you
Yes.
mean?
Right now I'm in my last semester of my master's. Can I apply for H1B? And
Yes, you apply in your last semester as masters using your bachelor's. So if your bachelor's is related to what you're studying now, in other words, the job has to match your bachelor's education. And then every other lottery after this one, God forbid you want to win this one, but every other lottery after this one, you use your master's. Because when you apply, you got to have the degree. So when do you graduate?
um, in May 2024.
Oh, you'll have till, oh, that's good. All right. So here's the rule. If you apply in the lottery, you got to apply every March. And then if you win the lottery, you then have to actually submit an application. That's another step. So you submit the application in April, May, or June. And at the time you submit the application, you have to have the education that you put down on the lottery registration. So if you are in your last semester, put master's, because you'll win the lottery. Even though you don't have your master's when you enter the lottery, you got to have your master's when you file for the winning H-1B application because you won the lottery. So you put master's in the application for the lottery. If you win, you know by April 1st, but don't file on April 1st because you don't have your master's yet. Don't file your application in April. Don't file it before you graduate in May. The day you graduate, the next day, you're a master's degree holder, and you have until the end of June to file the H-1B that you're allowed to file for because you won the lottery back in March. So I take it back. You, sir, can use your master's for the first lottery, which you'll enter while you're still in school. How's that?
Yeah, that is what I mean. Right now, like within 2 months, I'm going to graduate, but the applications are going to open maybe next week, and it will continue till the end of March last week, I guess,
Right.
for lottery.
That's just to register your interest in winning the lottery. So when you win the lottery, what do you win? You don't win an H-1B. You win the right. You win the right to submit an application to ask for an H-1B. You're winning the lottery for what? To get an H-1B handed to you? No. You're winning the lottery for the right to then pay more money and submit an application that takes more effort. So that application you can submit, you could do that through the end of June, June 30.
Okay, and one more thing, like,
Did that make
so there
sense?
won't be, yeah, and there won't be any impact on my OPT because I'm going to apply for my OPT as well next week, and I'm going to, if I file, if I register for H1B lottery, is there any impact on my OPT?
No, they're independent. They're independent. So let me ask you this. Do you have a job offer?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
If you have a job offer,
I
that's
mean, it's kind of my employer said he gonna file.
he
If
is.
that's okay.
Yeah. If the employer files, don't travel. As long as you stay inside America and go work on OPT while you're waiting to see if you win the lottery or while you're waiting for the OPT work card, as long as you don't travel, you're fine. And your company's lawyer should know all this stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
don't
I
think.
mean, I was little bit confused here. At, I mean, they are filing from. I mean, if they are okay to apply for this lottery, H1B lottery as a future employment for me, and I did not apply for OPT as well till now. But within 2 or 3 days, I'm going to apply for OPT.
Good.
But in these 3 days also, I'm going to apply for. If I apply for H1B, so is there, I mean, anyhow, these two applications will be under USCIS, right? So, so they may know me. Okay, this guy, registered for H1B lottery, and this guy applied for OPT. So, will there be any impact if I do parallelly these two things?
Now you can do both. Just don't travel. I could get into all the reasons why you can't travel, but the point is entering the lottery and getting OPT can happen at the same time. But okay, but a bigger picture, a bigger picture. This poor young man has a job offer. That's good. This young man's company is doing all the work for his visa, and they're keeping him in the dark. That's bad. The company's lawyer, see what I'm doing answering this poor guy's question? The company should be doing this. That's what I mean by I will never work for a company unless they let me do my thing my way. This is not about the company. It's about this human being, this nice young man with a job offer who's got family halfway around the world. trying to root for him and pay his tuition and wish for the happy, productive future. The company forgets that's a human with a family. And I need to answer these questions because no one else is. So I promise you, you can get in line for OPT and get in line for the H-1B lottery, and one will not screw up the other.
Oh, okay. That's what my question actually. So thank you. I mean, I got some good
And you
clarity
know, you
on
could email me, and if you email me, I might say ask your lawyer, or I might, if it's a really quick answer that I don't need to know the details of your case, I could say, well, check with your lawyer, but generally this is the answer, and then we'll go from there.
Hello. Hi.
Is this legal to apply to register for H-1B lottery during my last semester? And I can apply, I mean, during last semester, all international students will be applying for OPT. So at that time, is it illegal to register for H-1B lottery during last semester and to apply for OPT during last semester?
No, as long as you have the diploma, the degree required when you file. So you have to win the lottery and then file the actual H-1B application if you win the lottery.
Okay.
As
Yeah,
long as
I
you
mean,
have the degree. So you put master's degree on your lottery entry. If you win the lottery, then you have to have the master's degree when you file. So you can't file until you graduate.
okay, I got it. And one more question is like, so for registering a lottery, I no need to complete my master's, I guess.
To register for the lottery, you don't need to complete your master's. You need to have the master's when you apply for the H-1B. And that's
Okay,
because
that
the lottery is a made up thing to help orderly organize the people who want an H-1B, given there's 500,000 of you and there's only 85 H-1Bs. It's an artificially created system, but the overall rule still applies. When you send in your application for the H, if you say you have a master's degree, you better have it. You can't be in line to get your master's. You got to earn it. So if you have any other questions, I think you could ask your company's lawyer. No?
yeah, but only this thing is like whatever you're saying is like for registering for H-1B lottery, you no need a master's degree. You can put as you are currently pursuing master's. But if I got picked in H-1B lottery while filing my application for H-1B, I should complete my master's degree. That is
Before
what
you
you're saying?
file. Before you file it.
Yeah, but in this meantime, while I'm registering for H-1B, I mean, I can register for H-1B lottery and I can apply for my OPT as well. There
Yep.
won't be any impact on these two.
Nope. Double check with your employer, but that's my understanding. That's how we do it.
Okay.
Nazmush?
So can I drop an email to you if I
Sure.
want?
Sure. Here, take a picture of this screen, I guess. Can you got my email down here? Or how about this? I'll go back, take a picture of this screen, and I'll send out these slides to the International Student Office. Nazmush?
Hey, Rasmush, thanks for taking my questions. So, actually, I will ask you two questions. First is like, this is my last semester, so I'm gonna apply my OPT in next 2 months. And also I'm planning to apply for the EB-1A visa. Like, I am an artist from my country, so I'm just planning to apply for that. So my question is that, like, if I apply for EB-1A, like if I submit my petition in on April, and I am applying for my OPT also, like, does this conflict with each other?
No, as long as you don't travel. So here's the thing. If you travel, then you have to justify your immigration situation either to get a new visa at the embassy and then come back with that new visa, a new F1 visa, or if you've already got a visa that's valid, you gotta be able to justify what you're doing in immigration to the guy at the border. So travel is bad because you gotta justify what the heck you're doing. If it's been 3 months since you've traveled, there's intent. The green card is permanent intent. the student visa, OPT, temporary intent. So if you are in line for a green card, you're telling the world, I want to stay in America permanently. If that's pending, you can also get in line for OPT. You could also get in line for OPT because when you get in line for OPT, you're not traveling. You're already here. So you've been a student. Your intention at the very beginning when you last entered was to temporarily study here. You're allowed to change your mind after 3 months. If you enter as a student and you've been here for 3 months, you can decide you love America and you want to get OPT. And while you're getting OPT, you can also get in line for the green card, but don't travel, because if you're in line for the green card and you come back at the border and they know you're in line for the green card, they're going to say, wait, you are in line for a permanent residency and you want me to let you in temporarily to keep working on OPT and then you're going to leave? You ain't leaving. You want to stay permanently. So that's where the trouble comes in. The intention, as long as you've been in America long enough, 3 months, you can be in the line for OPT because that's a part of your current status. You're allowed to work after you graduate. And you also could be in line for a green card because you changed your mind. When you came in, you told the guy at the border you were going to be temporarily here studying as a student. You change your mind. You want to stay here longer now, and you applied for OPT and you applied for a green card, but don't travel after you put that green card application in. Don't travel. Did that make
The
sense?
problem is with traveling, right? But like my concern is that like for EB1A, there can be so many things, right? Like it can be on RFE, like they can ask for RFE. They can also decline it, right? So if any of this happens, like if they ask for RFE or if they decline it, does it anyway impact on my OPT? Like suppose I'm also waiting for EAD card through OPT and I'm also waiting for EAD card through EB1A. So like does this conflict in any way if I don't travel then?
If you don't travel, you can do both, and one will not mess up the other. That's true.
Okay, so I want to ask one more thing. Like, if someone wants to apply for EB3 work visa, so what kind of employer needs for this case? Like, suppose if my cousin has a small business, like small boba tea business or coffee business, then can she apply for me the EB3 visa?
What's your major?
My major is supply chain management.
Oh my God, you are the dream client because you know enough. Here's what these big companies do. If you have EB3, which is bachelor's, EB2, which is master's, and you're from India with an Indian
No,
born.
I'm from Bangladesh.
Oh, Bangladesh. Okay. So that's also good. The wait for green card is not 10 years, but family will never ditch you. In other words, even if it takes 2 or 3 years to get a green card, if you're in line for a green card for a company where you don't know anybody and they decide they can't wait anymore because you can't go work there unless you've got a work visa or a green card, and the green card takes 3 years to get, you can't go work for the company that is sponsoring you for the green card. No American that doesn't know you is going to keep a job open for 3 years, but your friend or a family member, if they're not immediate family, a friend who owns a business will put you in line for a green card and you go through the green card line. And in the meantime, you could be working at a supply chain management company. And then once the green card's approved, though, you got to go work for the family or the friend of the family. You got to go work for their company. But maybe it's 40 hours a week and you do all the hours on a weekend and some nighttime shift or something. And you do it for as long as you can tolerate it and then you quit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank
Does
you.
it? And if, however, you find that a company in America is owned by people who live back in Bangladesh, They're family friends, but they're back in Bangladesh. They live Bangladesh. They're not here. Then you can go get an e-visa just because you're alive and you're from Bangladesh. And then you could also keep working at the logistics company while you're waiting for the E2 to become approved.
I can get e-visas, like if some of my relatives lives in Bangladesh. E-visa?
It all depends on the facts. But so yeah, if you want, email me and say, hey, I'm Nazmush from Commerce, and I'm from Bangladesh, and could we talk? And then I'll say yes, I remember you, and we'll answer your questions about the different ways to maximize use of your degree, put you in a good position to get a green card some way. And if you're in line for a green card over here with a friend or a family member, but you're working for a logistics company over here, then you got to know what happens when the green card gets approved. But that's okay. That happens all the time. In fact, it happens all the time because we tell clients to do this and they do it. I'll help you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna email you today with my
Great.
details. Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Same here.
Yeah, I have one more question, Arthur.
Okay.
Like, during my OPT, can I travel to, I mean, when I applied for OPT during it is in process, can I travel to India?
That's a question for your school advisors. I can tell you
Okay.
generally what I hear on other campuses when the advisors answer this question. Other campus advisors, so double check this answer that it's going to come out of my head with your advisors. But generally, if you have a job offer in writing and your OPT is pending and you want to go visit your family before you start work, this is what you need to get back. You need 5 things to get back to America to keep working at this job offer. So you have a job offer. They want to see that at the border. They want to say to you, hey, you're coming back with F1 OPT, but you don't have a job. You left without a job. And you say, oh, no, I have a job. Here's my letter of employment. And it was dated before I left. So the rule is you're allowed to travel and return to continue working. So you had a job offer, you had it before you left, and you show it to the guy at the border so he lets you in to continue working. And the letter needs to say that, continue working. Then the next thing you need is the work card. You can't come into work if you don't have the work card. So if you're visiting family and the work card is sent to an address in America, you better have somebody you trust looking for the mail. They could FedEx you the work card to get back in, or you could use the receipt notice showing you applied for the work card. And at the border, you say, well, I applied for the work card. It didn't come yet, but I got the receipt notice and I filed before I left. And I got this job offer and I got the job before I left. And while I'm waiting for the 2 of them, I went to see my family and now I'm coming back. So you need the job offer letter, the work card, or the application receipt notice to show you asked for it. Then you need your I-20 signed for travel, and the I-20 has to have a notation on it, OPT requested or recommended for OPT. So the I-20 has to reflect all this OPT stuff that's going on, and it's got to be signed for travel. Then you need your visa. The F1 visa has to be valid, and you need a valid passport that's good for 6 months into the future or more. So those are the 5 things you need. But please, pretty please, double check with your school. They may advise something different. But this is what I hear on other
Okay.
campuses.
Okay.
That
And
help?
again, I want to ask the same question, just to confirm once again, like, registering for H1B lottery is a different one, and applying for after it got picked and applying for H1B is a different case, right?
Right. They're both applying for benefits you're entitled to, and one will not screw up the other. Just like
And
the other young lady, Nazmush, being in line for a green card will not screw up her OPT, and being in line for OPT and a green card will not screw up a work visa she can get that's not an H-1B. As long as you're doing things correctly and you're entitled to do them, and what you're asking, you're entitled to do. And Nazmush is entitled to do what she's asking. You just got to do things the
Okay.
right way, and you're
Yeah, and
Yeah.
applying for OPT, which is if it is in process, and registering for H1B lottery at the same time parallelly, they won't. Those two won't affect each other, right?
Say that one more time.
Registering for a H1B lottery, next month in March first week, and applying for OPT in the next month in the first week of March. So it won't impact each other, right? It won't impact my H1B lottery, or it won't impact my OPT.
Right. That's right. That happens all the time.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Right, let's check.
We should make sure that if my H1B got picked, and I should before applying for H1B, I should complete my master's degree, and I should have my master's degree in my hand, and then only I can apply, or I can file H1B application.
Right. If you enter the lottery as a guy with a master's degree, when you submit the application, if you win the lottery, when you submit the application, you better have that master's degree. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Linda, what's going on with Linda?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Linda,
Hi.
what's going on?
Hi. I just graduated in December with my doctorate in higher education. And I am in that process. So thank you so much for this information. It's been very, very helpful. But my question would be, I'm looking at possibly doing the EB1. Is that a difficult visa to get? I know you explained a little bit about it, but I'm in the process of gathering all my information and things like that.
Well, that's the key. So, what country are you born in?
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, so you might not need EB1. In other
Okay.
words, what area of education did you study?
I did higher education, and my concentration was in leadership administration.
Right, so to sponsor yourself, you'd have to show either you are EB1, one of the best of education leadership scholars in the country, or you'd have to show for EB2, national interest waiver, that
Okay.
the way you're applying your education somehow benefits the entire United States, and it's important what you're doing just because of what it is. So, for example, we had one education leadership PhD, and they were studying the impact of introducing iPads to the students, and they would all carry around an iPad, and all the books would be on there and everything. The question was, that helped that one school district. How does that help the whole country? National interest waiver. How does it help the whole country? But the research took the research of a school district and extrapolated it to the whole country. And research was conducted in a little local laboratory, but the idea was to recommend to the federal Department of Education a white paper, a plan on how implementing iPads with all the books on them. You hand the kid a machine instead of all these books, and how would that be good or bad for students? So it depends upon what you're doing, how you're doing it. You send me your resume, send me your CV, and I can send you back the list of things we need to assess whether you are able to sponsor yourself or whether you need just a regular old job offer.
Oh, okay. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Just one last thing. Where are you planning to work?
I am planning on working in higher ed, so I'm looking for jobs in universities, universities or research companies. like the one, for example, the one you mentioned, the one on education policy. So those are the type of things I'm looking at.
Yeah, then you might just get a regular old green card and start with these no lottery H-1Bs. You get OPT.
Okay.
You get OPT, go to a no lottery H-1B, either with a college or a university type one, or with a nonprofit research like the Carnegie Foundation. It's in Northern California. I don't remember the exact name, but we could try to find it together with between Google search and artificial intelligence. We can find it. There are tons of places like that. Here, look. Here.
Mm-hmm.
Higher education. Let me look under E. Center for, where is it? Let's go through this list. Here's one right there. The Center for Education Policy Studies, right? You go there and it's at Stanford. All right.
Okay.
Then you go back and you go, here's another one, Center for Education Policy Research. Where's the, it's at Harvard. So there are places. And then if that's not your thing, then you could always do this. Check this out. There are these trade associations. So let's go here. All the states, all types. Here's the categories. We want education. So this is going to be a listing of all the professionals practicing in the field of education that group together by interest. So for example, education. If you can see this, I'm not sure. Education.
Yes, I can.
Here. So education. Do you want to be involved with the education administrators, education administration, educational institutions, education just generally, adult education, business education? So the beauty of this list is it's going to give you research organizations of like-minded people, and you would be doing the research to feed back to all the members of this association. So just let's go right here. Let's see what's here. Just it's for the heck of it.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Do a PhD graduate have higher chance of winning the lottery for H-1B?
Yes. There's an extra 20,000 H-1Bs inside that 85. There's 60,000 for anybody. Usually it's people with bachelor's degree, but a person with a master's degree could win one of those 65. But then there's only a special category for people with only a master's or a PhD. So master's or PhD, there's 20,000 just for you. Nobody with a bachelor's degree can get one of those, but you could also get, in addition to those 20, you can also get some of the 65 as well. We skew it so you get two chances to get extra opportunity to win the lottery, whereas the bachelor's candidate is the lowest priority.
And is the application for a green card? Do you think it is a process that a person can go through themselves?
A green card?
A green card application.
If you're, because I'm a lawyer, it's kind of, here's what a typical lawyer would say. Oh, yes, you need a lawyer. Of course you need a lawyer. And then the next idea is, oh, I'm a lawyer. You could pay me. But here's the truth. The truth is you have to know how to file a case, and you have to know where things go right and where things go wrong. And if you have just somebody with a bachelor's degree, but all they do is file green card cases for a university or something, that person is just as qualified as I am, in my opinion. It's like if you do something every day, over and over, you can anticipate problems and avoid them, because not because you went to law school, but because you do it. You do it. You do the work every day. So, do you need a lawyer? No. Should you do it yourself if you've never ever done it before? The problem there is you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't know when you're making an error if you make one, and then the government's got to tell you made an error, and it will either delay or perhaps get your case denied, maybe. So, do you need to be a lawyer? No. Should you do it yourself? If you have a friend who works at a university and all they do is file green card cases, they could help you.
Uh-huh. And my last question is, if I apply for a green card, I'm currently on OPT. If I apply for a green card and my OPT expires, should I leave the country, right?
Well, what kind of green card?
Um,
Work, work or
as a
marriage?
as a PhD graduate.
All right.
Yeah.
Green cards have 2 or 3 steps, 2 or 3, but the third step is the same as the second step if in a 2-step process. It's if you're going through the Department of Labor, the Department of Labor is step 1. Then at immigration, there's 2 steps, and these are the 2 steps that always exist. Sometimes there's the Department of Labor as step 1, sometimes there isn't. But at immigration, there is the application to stay permanently, the I-140 based on your work, and then the second part is the I-485. If your OPT runs out and you don't get to the 485, you got to go or get another visa.
Mm-hmm.
If your 485 is filed,
Mm-hmm.
then the 485 keeps you here legally. It is only filing that third or the second step, the I-485, that keeps you here legally without an underlying visa.
Mm-hmm.
So if OPT runs out, try to get a visa to keep working.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What country are you born in?
Iran.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
okay. So you'll get to that 485
Mm-hmm.
a lot faster than a poor person born in India. To get to the 485 for an Indian born person, it's going to take 10 years, or if they're in an EB1, it'll take 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Iran is 2 years, 3 years. So you should be able to get a work visa after OPT expires. What's your major?
My major is English linguistics.
Okay, it's not
Yeah.
STEM, but that doesn't matter. It
Mm-hmm.
depends upon where you work. Where would you go work?
I have applied for both. I mean, I have applied to both universities and industry.
Okay, so depending upon where you get interest,
Mm-hmm.
you'll have different choices. You just keep in touch with me. I guess the big picture here for all the students that still are on the call, about half of you are still here from the beginning. For the half of you that are here, tell the other half that left. What we do in these video question and answer, it's like a call-in radio program, isn't it? So right now, what we're doing is what I would do with you individually in the future. If you ever emailed me and had a question, we would get data in email and then talk. And when we talk, we'll be doing this. So don't worry that you're from Iran. If you think somehow from being from Iran is a problem next to your name, Iranian, they don't care. They don't care. Trump cared because Trump is crazy, but no one else cares. So you have to figure out with your major and where you could get job offers, what work visas are available to replace OPT while you're waiting for that part 3 of the green card or part 2 of the green card.
Okay, thank you very much.
Keep in touch. Keep in touch.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Oh, I was going to finish off by saying, so you were mentioning that it'll be the EB1 sponsoring yourself might be the more difficult route to prove. So if I end up getting like a regular H-1B, and then during that time I accumulate a lot more evidence, can I still just go ahead and sponsor myself while I'm on H-1B?
Right. So what a lot of people do, they get OPT,
Mm-hmm.
get an H-1B, particularly in your situation, because you're going to be with an employer more likely than not that's exempt from the lottery. So you go
Right.
OPT to H-1B, and you have a high level of education. So if you get a normal green card sponsored by your employer, you'll be in this box. But if the employer's taking too long to decide whether they want to even sponsor you,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell them, every day I come to this job, I do research, I write stuff. I'm keeping track of what I'm writing. And if I'm not even allowed to share it because it's proprietary, I can at least give the title of what I've written and a little summary, like one paragraph that doesn't expose any proprietary secrets of this organization. But then with that increasing number of papers written, you could perhaps qualify over here or even up here. So most people do this. They get OPT H-1B because it's a non-lottery, exempt from the lottery employer, like the young
Right.
lady at the Carnegie in California.
Mm-hmm.
But the employer was dragging its feet, and the young lady was OPT work 1 year, 2 years on her H-1B, and they said nothing about the green card. So she called me and said, well, what do I do? I said, well, you still researching? Uh-huh. You writing papers with your name on it? Uh-huh. Are they branded? Does the name of the Carnegie show up on the cover? Uh-huh. I said, all right, that's more evidence for either this category or this category. But quite honestly, these are a lot of work. If the and they're subjective. Somebody at the government has to determine if you are in fact working in the national interest. If they had a fight with their spouse that morning, they might decide you don't because they're in a rotten mood.
Yeah.
Same as up here. Same as up there. But this is objective. Did we place ads to test the labor market? Did we put an ad out there? Yes or no? Did we do the ads for the right amount of time? Yes or no? Did we pick the right wage that you should be paid for your job in that neighborhood where you work? Yes or no? It's objective.
Right.
We convinced with the little young lady in the Carnegie Education Institute, we convinced the employer to start thinking about that green card in the 3rd year of her H-1B, because if we didn't bring it up, they may never bring it up. They didn't even know that they were exempt from the lottery. I had to explain that too. So I had a unique position because I'm not their lawyer, the Carnegie people. I'm not their lawyer, but they trusted me because everything I told them got them this girl. The girl's doing a good job at work. So I brought up the next step just as a suggestion. It wasn't a demand. It wasn't anything, just this idea. Hey, you'd like her? She's doing a good job? Maybe you could help her get a green card. And we did it in this box. And we split the legal fees so that by law, the right people are paying the money they're supposed to pay, but we adjust the amount so that the employer has the option to pay whatever they want, except they can't pay lower than $17.50. So in our office, an employer can pay for a green card here. It's cheaper than an H-1B because the biggest obstacle for employers, their HR people don't want to do extra work. They're lazy. They're lazy. So you and me, we're going to do all the work and they review it. So we tell them, this is not going to be a burden. And we tell them, I know you got a limited budget. You and the worker can split the costs however you want, but at a minimum, employer, at a minimum, you have to pay $17.50. It's cheaper than an H-1B. And that gets their attention. And then they feel guilty. They don't want to be cheapskates, so they pay more, but they don't pay the full amount. And I could help you.
Okay. Just a last question, because I know that there's 10 categories on there, and I am at 2 of those, and I'm working on the third one, but I'm trying to get like a list for, because somebody recommended that have like 4, that way it's like a solid case. Would you recommend something like that?
Oh, like papers, number of papers?
Number of categories on the EB1.
Oh, up here
Mm-hmm.
in this box?
Yes.
Yeah, I can send you a list of the criteria that immigration looks at. They say
Okay.
you need to have, what do they say? You have to have 3 or 4 of the listed 10 or something.
3, yeah,
The answer is the more you have, the better. The
the
more,
better. Okay.
but it doesn't have to be really. People get too strict and too carried away about the journal's impact factor, the whatever
Mhm.
they call it, the impact, some number, the journal's impact index number or something. Uh,
Mhm.
or, oh, you only have to be published in peer-reviewed journals and have
Mhm.
citations. No, you don't. You could publish, if you worked at the Carnegie and you wrote papers that they put on their website, and each paper is downloaded 7 million times, then you have
Mhm.
7 million citations. Every download is a citation. There are other
Mhm.
ways to get data to the government that are beyond conventional lawyer thinking. And
Mhm.
I'll help you. We're only
Okay.
limited by our imagination. That's all. You got an
Exactly.
imagination.
Okay. Well, I downloaded, I screenshotted your contact information, so I'll make sure to be in touch.
Sure.
It might take me like a few days or so, but I'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah, whenever you're ready. Whenever you're
Okay.
ready.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Druthi.
Yes. Hi,
Yeah.
Arthur.
Uh,
Yeah. I would like to know, how does NIW work? EB to NIW.
okay, so you have to prove that you're, well, first of all, where were you born?
India.
It'll be a 10-year wait, but you're
Yeah.
not tied to an employer. So if you get a regular old computer job, say, and you're born in India, if you hate your employer after 3 years, but they started immigration paperwork for you, more than likely you'll have a green card application going through the system, but it's tied to that employer. You'll also have an H-1B or some other kind of visa that you're using to work for that employer. If you quit your job in this box,
Yeah.
all of your green card work goes down the drain until a certain point. You got to get an approved I-140. That will help you. But the point is, you got to start over. If you quit your job and you're in this box, you got to start over the green card and you got to transfer your work visa to the new employer. If you're in this box and you change jobs, you just got to transfer your H-1B. You don't start the green card over, because this job in this box doesn't even really require you to have a job offer. You're sponsoring you. This is tied to your brain. And wherever your H-1B goes, you go, and your brain goes with you. So this, you don't have to start over. You can quit your job anytime you want, and you just got to find a new employer to take your H-1B or whatever visa and move it with you. What's your major?
Supply chain. Masters.
Okay. Um, Not to burst your bubble, a lot of people like with DHL or with like the inventory just-in-time management system at Walmart, they go in this box.
Okay.
If, however, you work with a multinational like Walmart and they love you,
Okay.
they could send you outside the Walmart Singapore and bring you back in this box. Then you don't even have to deal with all this garbage. You don't have to be an academic researcher. You could be working for Walmart, but you'll be up in this box because you worked outside of America for a year. So you might want to include a lot of multinationals in your job search to eventually target this box. If you do a lot of research and you could show you're pushing the the boundaries of logistics research to the limit. You're doing
Yeah.
creative stuff. You could perhaps be in this box.
Yes.
You could be in that box. This is
Okay.
a 10-year line, though. This is a 10-year wait. This is 5 years. And it just depends upon where you get a job offer. But you can
Okay.
ask me anytime you want, whatever you want.
Okay. But what if I'm not in any job? Like I just graduate and then I want to sponsor myself for NIW.
Well, you'd have to show that your work is in the national interest and that you are doing unique research or unique
Yes.
projects to
Yes. So first of all, I want to know if supply chain comes under NIW.
it all depends. It all depends. Maybe yes, maybe no. It would be better if you had a PhD and it were more theoretical. You're
Okay.
going to have a master's and it's going to be hands-on. If I were you, I'd try to, with a master's, try to get a job with a multinational and try to shoot for this green card box, plus take a side trip for a year to whatever country they send you to. Or a lot of people do this. A lot of people, if you do qualify, and I have a list of what you need to show to win in this box. So email me and I'll send it to you. It's like a worksheet. So I'll send you this box worksheet to see if you qualify or if you want to even be bothered to try to qualify. But more than likely, you're going to be in this box stuck to an employer, or you can try to work at a multinational and get up here. So you have choices. And if all else fails, go work in Canada remotely.
Yes, yes, that is what I wanted to check with you. Now with F1 OPT EAD card, can I work out of US? Like instead of finding jobs in the US?
No, because once you leave America, you're no longer F1 or OPT. You're going to need a
Okay.
work visa for wherever you go. So,
Okay.
for
So, but
example,
I can work, what if I work remotely in the US will that be allowed?
remotely for yeah, you could live in America, use OPT, and work remotely for a company in India. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Or any other country for that matter, like Australia, Canada.
Right. And now the only thing with this company, this Mod Squad, they do it a little differently. They assume you're in a job on OPT that you love and can then do remotely, and you can't get a visa after OPT. So they decide the way to solve that problem is for you to go to Canada, work for them, and then they send you as a consultant back to your own company in America as a remote worker, and you live in Canada, and they get you the Canadian work visa to do it. That's
Yes.
that's another way. But
Yes.
I'll help you with all your choices, particularly if you're from India. There's just because there's too many people under our broken system of counting people, you shouldn't be punished. You should still have choices. And it makes me mad.
Looking at the scenarios and situation, it's quite scary to
Yeah, don't think of it as scary.
yeah.
Make this situation make you pissed off. If you get pissed off, you'll solve the problem because you're so pissed off. You'll be motivated to stick your finger in America's eye. You're treating me badly. America, don't treat me badly. So I love the L1. I love this mob squad. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And maybe you do qualify for the NIW. Maybe yes, maybe no.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So email
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, sure. I'll do.
All right. Anybody else? Well, you can always email me, guys.
Yes.
Anytime.
Yeah, I have a question, sir.
Oh, sure. Krishna.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sir, what you suggest for the Indian students who just done with their masters and OPT to get a green card legally good? What is your recommendation?
All right. What's your major?
It's major in business analytics.
Business analytics. All
Yeah,
right.
some kind of computers.
This is just one idea. I alluded to it earlier. I think it was the young woman with the Bangladesh friends who had a business. So let me tell you a story about an Indian guy, like, I don't know, 7 years ago, who worked at Ernst and Young. All right, so he worked in a white collar job doing financial general ledger auditing and consulting on ways to make a company's balance sheet more attractive, how to move numbers around and cut costs and all that stuff. So he was a consultant and an auditor in the area of accounting. He worked at Ernst and Young. It's a huge multinational with a lot of opportunity. But he knew it was going to take 10 years to get the green card through them. And good luck having them be loyal to you for 10 years. There's no loyalty. The companies fire people left and right. So
Yeah.
he worked there on an H. He won the H. He worked on an H. But he knew he better be getting a green card from somewhere else that's trustworthy and will help him, really help him. So he had an uncle. Everybody's an uncle. This is my auntie. This is my uncle. It's just a family friend. The guy owned, I'm not making this up, the guy owned 5 gas stations and convenience stores. All right. Uncle owns 5 gas stations and convenience stores, and they're all keeping their own books as LLCs. Each company, each LLC owned a gas station convenience store for insurance purposes. But the job description was to maintain the separate entity structure, but behind the scenes, unify the bookkeeping so they can take advantage of volume purchases. If you're going to buy bags of potato chips for one convenience store, buy for all 5 and get a volume discount from Frito-Lay potato chip company. So he was going to do, when he got his green card, financial analysis, combining and getting economies of scale for 5 convenience stores and gas stations. Not glamorous, but the guy, the uncle, was never going to fire him or never going to let the case die because he's a family friend. So the young man worked at Ernst and Young. In year 5 of Ernst and Young, year 5, they had gone their separate ways. They were not giving him encouraging promotion signs, and he saw that his time was limited there. So because he had an approved I-140 from the gas stations, he's allowed to take his H-1B somewhere else and have it live in year 6, year 7, year 8, year 9, for as long as he needs it to live to get the green card. So he took Ernst & Young's H-1B and took it somewhere else. And he had the H-1B beyond 6 years because he had the gas station I-140 approved. So if you, long story, very short, if you can find a friend of the family with a business in America that is related to what you study, you get in line for the green card through the family friend, but you make your living and learn your skills on the job with the best company you can find using the best visa available. And after OPT, God forbid, if you need to leave and go to Canada and work remotely for the company that you just left on OPT because you couldn't get a visa, you work remotely, you stay in Canada for 4 years, you get Canadian citizenship, you're still in line for that gas station because the guy in the gas station is a friend of your father. He's not going to hurt you. So you're getting all the benefits of being in line for the green card, even though you're living and working in Canada remotely for an American company. And you could come back sometime after 4 years with a Canadian passport, not your Indian passport. You'll have more visa choices available. You get the TN or an E2. So there really is no right answer to your question. What I just said was a really elaborate yet realistic way to manipulate the system, and you get the best of all worlds. I don't know if that helped. I over answer questions, but I wanted you to see that it's not static. So this guy had 3 different balls in the air. Ernst and Young, Uncle with the gas stations, a new H-1B for a new company after Ernst and Young. The H-1B lived beyond 6 years because of the uncle's I-140 for his gas station. And in the process, you could even go live in Canada. As long as you're still in line for that green card and it's not canceled, you're fine. But when the green card's approved in the future, you got to come back from Canada, take your green card and go to work for your uncle. And then you realize you hate your uncle. You quit after 6 months. And then you got a green card and you're free. And you put in enough time with uncle in the future to keep your green card. There's no slavery. You can't be forced. They cannot force you to work for your uncle. But because he sponsored you and you've been waiting 10 years to go to work, you go, stay 6 months, and then uncle, no offense, I don't like you. And he says, well, that's funny. I'm thinking the same thing. You're a slacker. Get lost. And you part ways and you keep the green card. That thoroughly confuse you?
No, not like that. Once we get the green card from the sponsor, we need not to associate with them.
Once you get the green card from the sponsor, you need to work there for a good faith period of time, because the only reason you have that green card is because the sponsor asked you to get it. So you got to stay with the sponsor when you get the green card. But because there's no slavery, we can't force you to stay forever. You got to stay a good faith number of months. Some people leave after 3 months. Some people leave after 3 years. Some people leave after 6 months. I think 6 months is a good number.
Okay. And one more thing, can you share this PPT to or PDF with us?
Yeah, I wonder, can I put it in the chat? Can I put a document in the chat?
We have that, and I will upload that on YouTube as well. And I'll make sure that every student gets that, and don't worry about it.
Okay, all right, because I have the slides and I'll send them to all the folks in your office.
Yeah. You can upload a file in chat.
Upload. I don't know if my settings.
Okay.
Let's see. Where is it? Chat. Where? That button? No.
In Zoom.
See, well, I got is.
Please don't worry about it. We will get that PPT and we'll make sure to upload it on our drive, and we'll share the link with the video. Okay?
Yeah.
One last
Will that
question
help you, Krishna?
Yeah. Okay, that's
Let
fine.
the questions continue. Let the questions continue. Please don't interrupt that. So we'll do that, whatever necessary.
Let's
it
take
is.
2 more.
Thanks.
I have a meeting in 15 minutes at your 1:45, my 2:45. So Enoch is next.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. So, I'm currently pursuing my second master's in business analytics, but I have an MBA and I've worked in tech for nearly 10 years, and I'm hoping to apply for the NIW. So, I don't know what my chances are and what documentation I need to provide.
That's where we start. The information you need to provide to even assess if you're meeting the criteria. So here, I'll just show you. If you guys email me, I'll send you this. Not that. I'll send you, where is it? Is it this? Holy mackerel. Lots of windows open. Hold on. Let me, well, here, I'll do this. Put that over there. Drive. Drive this one. This one. And Trump trouble. If we were winning, we've only lost 2 self-sponsored cases ever since we started 20 years ago. We've only lost 2 self-sponsored cases. They were both EB1A, and they were both when Trump was president. And I got so disgusted with him that I wouldn't file unless you really were extraordinary. I mean, you really had to be. So we kept winning NIW under Trump because the RFEs they sent out would if you read between the lines, Trump was telling you how to win the NIW by asking you more questions. The EB1A, Trump made pure hell. So, however, now we have a normal president, and I still call it NIW Trump because we won every single one with Trump. We're sure as heck going to win one with Joe Biden. But what do you need for NIW? You need this. So I will send you this. I would literally copy this into an email. It's a worksheet. And these are the 3 things you need to prove. It's really 4. It's 1A and 1B. So that's 2. And then this is 3 and this is 4. You got to prove those 4 things. How do you prove it? You prove it with the evidence. And the evidence we use is the evidence for NI. The evidence we use is the evidence for extraordinary ability. And it's overkill. Because if you use NIW cases backed up by EB extraordinary ability, EB1 evidence, you're going to win. So the trick is for NIW, you've got to be working in the national interest, and the evidence doesn't have to be that big. For extraordinary ability, the same list of evidence, you need a lot. You need a lot of evidence because they're so stupid at immigration. They judge your level of extraordinary ability based on how much paper you send them. What the hell, right? So you can win with fewer citations and fewer publications and all that stuff in EB2 NIW, but it's the same evidence that you use in EB1A extraordinary ability, but you're proving a different thing with the same evidence. In EB1A extraordinary ability, you're proving that you are extraordinary because I have a lot of paper. NIW, you're proving I have less paper, but it's the same kind of paper, and it's proving that I'm working in the national interest of the United States. So it's totally different. So this is what you're proving in the NIW case, this stuff here. And how do you prove it? With this list of evidence here. And where did I get this list from? EB1. Because we're giving EB1 evidence in an EB2 case. It's like killing a fly, a house fly, with a sledgehammer. That's what we're doing. And knock wood, thank God, thank our creativity, it works. So, and it's no secret. I don't care who knows this. The more people that know this, even lawyers in Texas, I don't care. The more people that know this, the more they can help you. So now I don't know if I answered the question or not. Young man, what was your question?
Yeah, about the documentation. So my other part of question is that I also have many years of humanitarian experience, whereby I also have published documentation on this. Does it count?
Yeah, if you had a employment in a critical or essential capacity for an organization that's known, like ExxonMobil, Neiman Marcus, Ernst & Young, IBM. We got a guy doing computer security who worked at IBM. We got him a national interest waiver. And it was primarily because of his work. So it all depends. It all depends upon what evidence you have. So we could email me. I'll send you this back, and you could start sorting out all your credentials according to what they look for in this worksheet, and see what happens. We'll take a look.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, we got a few more minutes. How about Raul? Raul? Or Sai?
Hi, sir. So can we file a asylum visa once we are here in the US after 2 years? Staying here in 2 years?
All right. So for asylum, we don't do asylum. We only do the happy stuff.
Okay.
But here's what you should know. Generally, because you get a work card with asylum, everybody thinks you're done. You could work now. It's over. That's a courtesy work card that you get to keep until your asylum case is decided. If the asylum case, God forbid, gets denied, the work card is dead. And if you have no underlying status, if you have no underlying visa, once they deny your asylum, you got to go. You'll be thrown out. So if you, my rule is think of asylum as a bonus. Don't rely on it. Always have a real underlying status. I hope you're F1 right now. Are you?
Yeah, you have to.
Okay. If you go to an asylum lawyer and they're talking like a big shot, oh yeah, I'll get you a work card in 7 months. It'll be great. No, I mean, it's nice, but it's not great. What's great is having the green card approved through asylum. The people who tell you that asylum is a great thing simply because you get a work card, they're full of baloney. It's a short-term thing. You can't have your whole future based on an approval or a denial of an asylum case. So you should, one, keep your F1, get a normal work visa, get a normal green card line going for you, either through work or marriage to an American, and also have asylum. But just know that the asylum's a bonus. If it gets approved, it's just another way to get a green card. You can't rely on it only. It's too risky. What country are you from?
Sri Lanka.
All right. So you'd have to prove that you have a real, well-grounded fear of returning there because when you get off the airplane, because of religious differences, your neighbors will kill you. Or you'll get off the airplane and because your government doesn't like your political beliefs, they will beat the hell out of you and put you in a dungeon. Or because of your religious beliefs, they will do the same thing, torture you and throw you in a dungeon. So you got to prove that you are subject to fear of returning and your life is at risk or bodily harm. And that's hard to prove. Is it true? Do you have a reason for asylum? If you don't want to answer, that's okay. But that's what you have to prove. And I know what your original question was. The rule is, hey, I've been here a year. I was supposed to file my asylum application within a year. And if a year goes by and you didn't file asylum yet, then the next question is, can I file it after 2 years or a year and a half? And the answer is yes, you can, but you got to have a reason. And the reason is I came to America and during the first year, my country was fine. It was just like I left it. Then something really bad happened while I was here. It happened after a year of me being here. And I'm going to file my case late because of intervening circumstances that happened after the year mark. So I hope that helps. I'm being less enthusiastic about asylum than I think the young man wanted me to be, but what I said is really true. Asylum's not bad. It's just an option, a bonus that you could possibly take advantage of if you qualify.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So you might have answered this question already, but I totally missed the session. So my major is wildlife biology, and I was wondering, like, what is the difference in like working in some governmental organizations such as the Texas Department of Natural Resources, compared to the private research companies? Like, is there any advantages, especially regarding the green card process, or like, is it the same? What's the like general preference or like recommendation on
Okay,
that
so
one?
everybody who's listening, this will be the last question because I have to go to a meeting. But and then just feel free to email me. Well, I mean, we'll do this individually for everybody in the audience. I don't care. So the answer to your question, young man, is, hey, what if I do my research and do work at a government agency? Does that matter? The only reason it would matter is if you're subject to civil service hiring requirements. In other words, if there's a union or something and you got to take a civil service exam. If you're an exempt from civil service requirements employee of a government, you can get a work visa, an H-1B, particularly if you're doing research. A lot of government offices, all government is nonprofit. And if you're doing research at that nonprofit, which is a division of a government, state or local government, you can get a work visa. You can get a non-lottery H-1B. So if you're doing research work, oh, hey, I'll give you an example. We had a young girl in Baltimore, Maryland, working for the Maryland State Department of Transportation. She was doing research on how they could best, yet cheaply, change the direction of all the traffic if there was a hurricane. So all the roads going toward the ocean were turned around and the direction of traffic was away from the ocean. So there would be twice the number of lanes of cars driving away from the hurricane. That was her job. And she did that on OPT. She did not finish her research project. So they got her an H-1B, and I did the work because no one ever knew about this at her office. We got her an H-1B for a nonprofit research organization. During Trump time, Trump would say, no. They're providing transportation. They're not a research organization. Get lost. Trump would have denied me. But all the other normal presidents approve me. They say, you know what? Yeah, she is doing research. She's at the research arm of the Department of Transportation. And it's nonprofit. Give her an H-1B. And she got the H-1B after OPT was over. But they wouldn't get her the green card because our green card, we are looking for an objectively identifiable person who is just qualified to do the job. So while the young lady from India might have been really qualified, you can't let her keep the job with a green card if there's an American out there who's a moron, but just slightly less of a moron to be in the acceptable hire category. I hate this system. It rewards mediocrity. So the civil service criteria for her to be hired long-term was she takes a test. If your number on the test is high enough, you're put in a pool of people, and then the manager can just pick one. The manager had the ability to pick the best person. Our immigration system forces an employer to pick the least awful person that's still acceptable. So because civil service lets the manager pick the best person, and our immigration system rewards American stupidity, they're two different incompatible systems. We couldn't get her the green card. So she went back and got a master's in analytics. But so to answer your question, there are good benefits to working for the government and not so good. One last thing. We had a guy at the University of Texas at Arlington. UT Arlington was an engineer. He was doing a lot of research in his PhD program and on OPT. He had 3 years of OPT, and he was from Ghana. He did research on concrete. If you build a bridge made of concrete and other materials, and a truck on top of the bridge catches fire, or there's a fire underneath the bridge will collapse unless you reinforce it. So he studied reinforcing bridges that were burning using nanotechnology altered cement. All right. So he was doing research papers on this topic with his PhD for the Texas Department of Transportation. And because he was doing research that manifested itself in a practical white paper telling the state of Texas what they recommend for this new concrete, he was able to get from OPT to a green card in his PhD program. So when he left his PhD, he didn't have to worry about visas or the civil service or how they hire long-term. He had a green card and they just hired him like he was an American. So there are lots of ways to do this, and government's not bad. Did that help?
Yeah, yes, sir. That makes sense. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, guys. I'm sorry to do this, but I think I should wrap it up. I got to go. Anybody else? Manakanta from the office.
Yes. I'm here, Art. Thank you so much for all the valuable time that you always give us, and your support for the international students is always there. And I also recommend whoever is watching this video until here, I recommend you all, if you have more questions, you can always reach out to Art. He has been supporting international students since so many years, and we always very happy to see you at in our presentations and giving out the valuable information and updated information to the students and helping them.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So you guys keep in touch. And if you have a question, we'll try to have an answer. And even if we're not the right person to answer it, we'll send you to somebody who is. Like asylum questions, there's a great group of lawyers that I know in Alexandria, Virginia, right near the Capitol. They will help with asylum. Any questions you have, if I can't answer it, we'll get somebody who can. All right? Is that okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
have
you.
a good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also whoever is requesting for the recording of this video, of this whole session, I'll be posting to you on your email. I'll be sending this email to everybody actually. And you will have the description as well about the art and the links or the contact information of the art, and also about the presentation that we came across now. That will help you. Thank you, everyone.
I will send the presentation slides as well. I'll do it right now.
Yes. Thanks.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.